the factory for more than half the oxygen we breathe. Our oceans hold some of the most enchantingly beautiful sights on our planet and are home to a majority of Earth's biomass. Within this environment is a myriad of communities, working together to form what we call marine biodiversity.
Each time down is like something new. You don't know what's going to be there. And you see so many things which are so different from what we see above land. And so there's always that process of discovery which goes on underwater. It's such a alien environment as well. But it's so beautiful too.
At the heart of each and every one of these communities and ecosystems is a complex web of interspecific interactions, dependent on the preservation of the very species within them. In our modern day and age, a great number of these species face imminent threats to their survival, with the biomass of predatory fish having declined by 2/3 over the last 100 years. This can be attributed to the overexploitation of these species. A prime example of this instance is sharks. Since the 1970s, oceanic shark populations have decreased by 71%.
In Hong Kong, seafood is a major food source for most people, with the average Hong Konger consuming nearly 66 kilograms of seafood per year, the second highest per capita consumption in Asia. And being home to a plethora of still existing fishing villages, it's needless to say that the seafood industry is one of the cultural wonders that makes Hong Kong what it is.
This city is generally considered to be the global hub for shark fin, a form of seafood, with more than half of global shark fin trade having gone through Hong Kong at some point in its journey. There have been several efforts to diminish the quantities of illegal shark trade in Hong Kong, but despite this, the dish remains one of the most prolific ones. One of the associations advocating for shark conservation is the Hong Kong Shark Foundation. Here, we interviewed Andrea Ritchie, the executive director of this foundation.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Ritchie, and I am the executive director for Hong Kong Shark Foundation. We are a Hong Kong charity dedicated to raising awareness about shark conservation.
As previously mentioned, this dish can be seen served at countless restaurants and purchased at numerous locations, most notably in districts of Sai Kung and Sheung
We did a survey in 2016, and we found that out of about 98% of all Cantonese Chinese seafood restaurants in Hong Kong serve shark fin.
With over 300 dried seafood shops supplying shark fins, lined up side by side, stretching for over 1 kilometer, shark fin sells like wildfires, with imports and exports flowing in and out of the market like water. Surveys show that 7 out of 10 Hong Kongers have consumed shark fins, most likely through the means of shark fin soup, a so-called culinary delicacy.
However, we have found that the flavoring of this meal originates in the chicken broth it is soaked in. Additionally, the ingredient serves no nutritional purpose and on the contrary, has been shown to provide negative effects on one's health. Heavy metals, as well as the neurotoxin BBMA, find themselves included in the marine food chain. As a predatory fish and an apex predator, sharks bioaccumulate these toxins in their bodies beyond a healthy level for human consumption.
It is also important to note that this practice is one that holds motivation behind it.
It's money. Pure and simple. It's taking a species from the ocean and exploiting it at an expensive price.
But despite this, it holds little economic value for the nation as a whole.
In terms of its impact on Hong Kong, it'd be negligible. In the same way, you've got the people, when the ivory trade starts being banned, the people who are ivory traders will say, oh, they're going to go out of business. But these people go out of business, but they're destroying a resource which really keeps the oceans healthy. And that's the thing.
Shark finning is a practice of removing a shark's fin and discarding the remains in the ocean. A practice not so common nowadays, as it has been banned in many countries. However, sharks do still face fishing threats, primarily due to their fins, with the difference being their flesh is also put to use.
Not only does this practice have adverse health effects on us humans, but they have an even wider scale impact on our environment. On average, we kill between 100 and 273 million sharks every year, 274,000 every day, 11,000 every hour, and 3 every second. In this time this film has been running, 1,122 sharks have had their lives taken, These animals are crucial actors in the balance of our ocean's ecosystems and are absolutely necessary for the maintenance of healthy oceans.
They are apex predators at the top of the ocean and at the top of the food chain. And so that food chain is important not to collapse. So the main role that sharks play is to maintain and keep clean the ocean. So they maintain healthy marine ecosystem.
Other reason why sharks are particularly vulnerable is that, they are long-lived animals, right? They don't reproduce that frequently. It's not like some of the fish that lay a few hundred eggs. So at a time, only 2 or 3 eggs are laid. So when we take too many of these out of the ocean, it's very difficult to replace populations quickly.
Despite their fundamental role, they still face incredible peril and exploitation. It is inevitable that the removal of a pivotal part of the ecosystem will have its consequences.
As it is, there's so much stress on the ocean with climate change. So whatever few populations you have, we have to protect every single species because it's part of a bigger food web. And not only we are losing diversity at a rate that's been unprecedented in our history. The 6th extinction is the biggest so far. This extinction is bigger than any extinction else. The closest it comes to is the Permian extinction. Total extinction was over 80,000 years. 95% of life was wiped out. Practically everything in the ocean collapsed. Now today we are doing something similar in 100 years. Today we are going to trigger the feedbacks like methane release from the Arctic and all of that, maybe in 100, 200 years. And there will be no time for any species to adapt. So with that kind of pressure on all life on the planet, the ocean is particularly vulnerable. Because remember one thing about water, the temperature goes up slowly, but then it can store a lot of heat. It's not going to recover anytime soon. You would have lost an economic resource. Most of the world today still depends on the ocean for its protein source. The worst thing that can happen in this extinction is humans get extinct as well.
Despite the great challenges this species and our oceans face, public light on this topic has been shed and awareness is starting to grow.
A lot of Hong Kongers have gained awareness of this topic, and progress is not out of arm's reach.
Just say no. Don't eat shark fin soup and pass it on to your family and friends on why it's not a sustainable practice anymore.
Every individual can help make a change, and every step forward is a step in the right direction.
Remember, our mission is 5 words. Raise awareness about shark conservation.